Because of the following special program, Private Benjamin will not be presented this evening.
By day, you work at a job that simply doesn't satisfy you. It's likely not a career, but simply a job. It pays the bills. It puts food on the table. But it doesn't light a fire inside of you. It doesn't fill you with a sense of, I can do it. It just is. But then there's the nighttime, when the rest of the world winds down. In the late, dark hours of the evening, a creative fire gets stoked inside you. The wheels of your brain kick in, the ideas start flowing. You feel a sense of excitement and adventure. You're doing what you know you're meant to do. And yet, there's a loneliness to it all. You work in isolation while others sleep. You wish you had people to bounce your ideas off of, a shoulder to lean on when something goes wrong. Others to applaud your achievements, no matter how big or small. People to encourage you to follow your dreams and goals. Solopreneurs, dreamers, builders, creators, resellers, makers, problem solvers. Like-minded people who want something better. We're here, and we're ready to listen and to help. Welcome to the Night Shift.
That's right, folks. Welcome to the Night Shift. Welcome back. Oh my goodness, we've got quite a few people here. Good evening, Miss Karen. Nice to see you. Carol, my love. Ashley. Oh, it's Warren. Hello, Warren. Ashley. So good to see you, lady. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for stopping into the Misty Media Diner here on the Night Shift. It is 7:04 p.m. here in Las Vegas, 100 degrees of miserableness. It feels like forever since I've been here and been in the diner. We've had, well, it's been a week. You ever have one of those weeks where you just say, okay, I don't care if I never remember that week happened. Yeah, that's pretty much this past week. Regina, big tackle hugs right back to you, lady. Yeah, this was one of those weeks that I could be more than happy to just say, "Oh, that happened? Okay." So I was preparing to be right back on track with with the night shift. I had a whole thing planned for the Monday show. Um and I'd been feeling kind of cruddy uh for a couple days at the day job. I mean, okay, it kind of goes with the territory that I feel cruddy working the day job because everybody knows I'd rather be doing publishing. Um, but it was just so dizzy. Um, every time I stood up, couldn't really walk right. Okay, well, that's also every day, but just felt absolutely horrible. Um, and uh, my resting pulse rate, I'm used to being 70, between 70 and 80. And it was running 90 to 100. And I was like, okay, I'm probably just overheated or something. Um, and then it started climbing, and climbing and climbing. And I was home, and I remember taking my afternoon siesta with my husband and saying, you know what? When I woke up, I was like, I can't do the show. I as much as I would like to, I feel like crap. I was already in the office. I already had the microphone. Everything was getting ready to go, and um, yeah, just basically said, I can't do this. Um, and Luis was getting ready to go out to work, and I said to him, I think I'm gonna have to go to the ER. I don't think this is right. And at that point, my pulse rate was up to 120, and that's 120 just sitting there. Um, and uh, I Luis left, and I thought, okay, and it started coming down a little, and then it started going back up again. Um, and so I was like, oop, I can't. I know I can't drive. Not safe for me to get behind the wheel. Um, so said goodbye to Zeke. Um, got in an Uber, headed out to. We have a. I don't have to go to the actual hospital here to go to the ER. One of the hospitals here has a separate emergency room building, if you will. It's not connected to any hospital. It's a standalone, freestanding ER, which is great because if you need to get into an ER, there's pretty much no waiting. And everybody had kind of checking in, everybody kind of thought, oh, dehydration. There's all the signs of dehydration, except there were signs that it wasn't just dehydration. There were a lot of other pain issues going on. And over the course of 4 hours in the ER, um, they did X-rays. They did because by now I'm having chest pains. Um, there's a blood test that comes back that seems to indicate I have a blood clot. So they have to check that out. Uh, and they had done a CAT scan on my chest with contrast, which if you've never had a CAT scan with contrast, and that warmth goes all the way down to your toes, you learn real quickly how your circulatory system really works. So everything you ever heard in school about, like, the way blood travels around the body, get a CT with contrast, get a CAT scan with contrast. You will learn very rapidly uh, where exactly what direction that blood flows, because you will feel that warmth go through every inch of your body really fast. Um, so I got that done, and they had put me on a saline bag or whatever was in the bag. I don't know, happy juice, vodka cranberry, could have been just about anything at that point, and I probably would not have cared. I know it wasn't my Pepsi Zero. We are not sponsored, but Pepsi, if you're out there, I'll hawk you to the moon and back. Just send me free Pepsi Zero. So uh, after one saline bag, blood pressure still wasn't down uh, enough to release me. Uh, the uh, resting heart rate wasn't down enough to release me. Um, so uh, they slung on another bag, um, and sat there for another bag, and uh, went ahead and said, okay, you know, hey, Sonia, Oh, my love, so good to see you. Um, so I get done with that second bag, and he's like, "So I bet you feel great now." I was like, "Well, no. I mean, I should, but I don't." He's like, "Well, what's still bothering you?" I'm like, "Well, I still have all this abdominal pain and uh, some pain in the back, and the stuff that I thought was going to go away once I was dehydrated. Once dehydration was over." Um, and they decided to do a CAT scan on my abdomen and my pelvis, and that's when we found out that it wasn't dehydration. Dehydration was a symptom and not the cause. So it was like right before they were going to release me. Um, they do this CAT scan and find out that it's not uh, not everything that we thought it was. Um, Not comfortable going into details right now. I will say it's not cancer. So if anybody was had that in their mind, it's not cancer. Um, I've got some organ damage. Actually, I have multiple organ damage, um, and it's not from the dehydration. Uh, it's from all kinds of other things, primarily genetics. Thanks, mom. As if you weren't enough of a bitch and when you were alive, you're the gift that keeps on giving, even after death. Um, most of it's all from her side of the family. Dad, you're in the clear. None of this stuff has anything to do with you. So, Dad, you're all good. Um, so I'm not going to be. Well, we don't know when I'm going to be fully back up to speed. To be perfectly honest, um, gonna take some. It's going to take some work for the next few months. We're hoping that some of this organ stuff uh, will correct itself. Organs can be very self-healing, but we just don't know yet. The ticker, on the other hand, the heart's awesome. My heart's always been good to me because it's full of love. It's always full of love. It's full of love for all of you. Um, Love gets you through everything. Love tightens up, makes the heart the strongest muscle in the world. Um, I thought you were gonna say drinking. Ashley, if I hadn't started drinking, it's like really tempting to now. After the week I've had. Uh, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes for me. Um, I did resign as president of Writers and Publishers Network, a job that I had really been looking forward to, and had just taken on officially as of July 1st. Um, but realistically, it's not something that I can give my 100% to when I've got my health uh, to look after, especially for the next 6 months or so. Um, I gotta make a promise to my family to stay above ground. Um, you know, Tooch. I'm not getting any younger. My husband's not getting any younger. Zeke's not getting any younger. My dad's 84 and gonna turn, I think, 85 this year. Um, so it I had to start looking at priorities, and there was only so much uh, so much pressure I can put on myself right now. And Sonia says, do to do. I was by the way, folks. Sonia is this gay guy's best girlfriend. Okay, Sonia and I have known each other now. Wow, uh, 36 years? Is it, Sonia? If I'm doing the math right? I think I met you in 1990. So I think right when I got to Florida State. So that's 10 plus 26. Yeah, that's 36 years. Um, Sonia is amazing. She's hilarious. She does amazing uh, voiceover work. Uh, she's comedic as hell. Sonia is a dear, 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 dear friend. Um, and it blows my mind that I have somebody in my life that I've known and loved for 36 years. You're very lucky when you have people in your life like that. Bye, Chooch. See you in the morning, man. Get some rest because I'm abusing everybody tomorrow. Um, but I completely lost where I was. I completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, Sonia said she was diagnosed with congestive heart failure a year ago this week. Uh, Absolutely, Miss Sonia. You know I'm always there for you, girl. Always. Um, ah, God. Yeah, it's getting old ain't for sissies. Um, Especially if you're like me and you're a Gen Xer who is really, really used to being 100% independent, 100% self-reliant. You're used to being the one that everybody comes to solve all the problems. Uh, you're used to figuring out your own solutions. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I started the night shift. Is I'm used to bootstrapping everything and uh, kind of feeling alone in the process. And the whole idea of the night shift was to bring together people that kind of felt that same way. That hey, I'm so busy running my business or doing work. Hey, Maria, oh, good to see you. So the idea was to bring people together in a spot that hey, I'm frustrated with everything I do during the day and, trying to run my business and I need some place to be able to vent and hang out and have people understand what I'm going through and uh, all that sort of thing. So, um, it's why that's why the night shift exists, and that's why the Friday night hang exists. Um, it's a place for folks to just kind of get to the end of the week and go, oh, what the fuck was that? Um, and see, and the beauty of it is after hours, right? And I'm in Vegas, so it doesn't even matter if it's after hours. You can use whatever cheeky language you want to on here. It's the beautiful thing. I make no apologies for my language. I have to be all nice and polite and adult and all that sort of thing when I go on other people's channels. That's the beautiful thing about having your own channel, folks. You can say whatever you want to. God, the First Amendment's nice. Um, Freedom from consequences? Please. You don't want to deal with me because I drop an F bomb? That's great. I have no problem with that. So that was my week. Um, Depending on how you figure your week starts and ends, if you figure your week ends on a Friday, then uh, ooh, Regina says, I finally made ginger hotness turn redder than red. Oh, oh, Regina. If you folks don't know, ginger hotness is a wonderful, wonderful uh, guy named Mike, January House Auctions, who will be on this channel tomorrow. Um, and Ultimate Ginger, that porcelain skin that reddens with a drop of sunlight. It's like vampire time. Um, so we love to, but he's damn good looking, and so we all like to pick on for that. I am happy to say that he had originally dropped out of our book fair tomorrow, and due to family commitments, which hey, I will be the last person to uh, begrudge anybody for not being able to participate in something because they've got something going on with their family. Especially in this case, it was this kid, and I was like, you know what? Be the dad. I'm totally good with that. But fortunately, he's been able to come around, and he'll be joining us back tomorrow in his time slot. And a little nauseous. Oh my God, Regina, I really should. You got to tell me what video I need to go back and rewatch to get the scoop on that. I want to hear that. So, what most of you probably know, but a few of you probably don't, is that tomorrow is a 5-hour extravaganza. It is the first annual Misty Media Book Fair. Um, People got a taste of it a month or two ago, and um, we had to. Regina got a head start on selling stuff to help with the charity, and then I had to change the date, mostly because couldn't get it couldn't quite get it all together to have enough people to participate. I had a grander vision for what I wanted to do than what was coming together. So I gave us a little bit more runway and that's not a pun because I work at the airport. But I need to give us a little bit more runway to get some more people involved. So I think we're up to something like 15 people participating tomorrow, between resellers and my authors, um, which is amazing. And everybody coming together to raise money for First Book, which is a terrific charity that helps underprivileged kids get books at low or no cost. And it also helps their teachers do the same thing. And, we need to take care of our teachers. We need to make sure our teachers out there are getting everything they need. Um, for everybody else, that's East Coast. It's awesome. It starts at 8 a.m. For people like me in Vegas, I set the time for you guys. By 5 a.m., I have to be in front of my computer. I have to have walked the dog, fed him, uh, taken my daily drugs, and okay, not that kind of drugs, like medicine drugs. The other drugs will come. No, that's not really true. Um, so at 5 a.m., I'll be here, um, going for 5 hours. I have this dream uh, that one day this book fair will become like the Jerry Lewis Telethon. I want it to be 24 hours of. Uh, oh, thank you, Maria. I absolutely will. There's a lot of folks that, if I had been more organized, I would have gotten more people involved. I know Nana Tank had wanted to participate. Um, D had wanted to at one point. I know Terry, uh, Uniques by the Creek, had wanted to be part of it, and trying to circle back around and get everybody. I wasn't as organized as I need to be. Um, but the great thing is all the people that are participating, all the people who have already done an amazing amount of work, like Regina or Two Old Guys Vintage, who have already been out there preaching the gospel of this charity and the work that we're doing. I just, I always wanted to do some nonprofit stuff when I had my old publishing house. And when you have business partners who have a different vision than what you have, um, sometimes you can't do that. Uh, but now that I control the publishing house 100%, I can do what I want to. And so if I want to sit down and have a book fair and raise money for charity, then I get to do that. And it's really, really, really important to me. There are so many terrific literary nonprofits out there, but I know how bad it's gotten in the world with uh, reading and the lack of readership. And, um, the US is not going to be winning any awards anytime soon for our educational system. Uh, and that's not the teacher's fault. Let me make that really clear. It is not the teacher's fault. Okay, the teachers out there. My sister's a teacher. Um, Folks are out there doing the best they can with what they're being given, and what they're being given is almost nothing. So I feel like, especially those of us in the publishing industry who are there and are seeing everything happen, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to the next generation of readers. We have a responsibility to this generation of readers and teachers and educators, to be there and support them in their journey. And that's one of the whole reasons why I'm doing this for First Book. I haven't decided if the original plans were to always hold a fundraiser in the spring and another one in the fall. The one from spring got moved to fall, so I don't know that we'll. I mean, not that really that August is fall, but it's riding that cusp. Um, so I don't know if we'll do another one this year. I probably not. I'll probably just try to get better organized for the one in the spring. Robin, hello, nice to see you. So yeah, I don't think we'll do one in the fall, but I think we're gonna make this one gangbusters. And any lessons I learned from running this one, um, I had never thought of the idea of doing an online book fair. I had never seen anybody do it before, but honestly, I was completely inspired by the reseller community that I find myself a part of now. Um, I'll always kind of consider myself the weird duck in this crowd of resellers, just because I'm not going out there and reselling stuff I thrift, or I'm a publisher. I'm selling brand new stuff. um, but I've learned so many great things following all of these resellers and what they do with their business, that I was like, especially the online aspects of it, of selling online and what that looks like. And I really got to thinking, oh, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a way to be able to do something for charity that you can do online. Oh, Nightbot, leave Robin alone. She's just fine. Oh, goodness. Um, I gotta turn off Nightbot one of these days. I gotta remember that. Yeah, Regina, schools are going back into session during the next few weeks. As a matter of fact, here in Nevada, uh, I think they go back in August, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like any week now they go back because they get out fairly early here. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've really learned a lot from the reseller community, and thought this was a really great way to try to do an online event. Years ago, and I don't know if they're still doing it now, there was an organization that around Labor Day, I think it was, they used to go and play uh, Mario games online for donations. They would stream it, and based on certain levels that they earned, um, for money donated, when they reach certain levels, they would play new games and new levels of those games. And I was like completely hooked and found myself sitting there watching this for hours and hours at a time. Not that I was enthralled necessarily by the games, but uh, was totally enthralled by watching those numbers roll, like watching those donations come in, and seeing how what they were doing was having such an impact on the charity. And it was the same thing that I was obsessed with as a kid, watching the Jerry Lewis telethon for muscular dystrophy. And if you lived in an area that had a fairly decent PBS station, PBS stations would have these uh, auctions a couple times a year where all the local businesses would donate prizes, and you'd go and they would jump from board to board doing recaps as the bids went up, and that stuff just fascinated me. I was just absolutely obsessed with watching that and watching those numbers grow. And I always said I wanted to create something that was like that, but with books. And back in the day, I was too young to, I mean, let's face it, I'm still too young um, to come up with that kind of idea. But now, the being able to take what I've learned from the reseller community, and my passions for publishing, and then what I knew from the past, now seemed like a good time to try to put it all together and host an online charity event. Um, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's gonna be a rock show. I've got a stellar lineup of some of the best resellers out there being a part of this. Um, I wish I had been able to include everybody that I wanted to. It would have taken a lot more digging and begging and uh, to get everybody in. But boy, the folks that are going to be there tomorrow, I have no complaints. My author stepped up too. I put the call out, hey, who can come help? And you guys have seen my cohort, Linda K. Hardy, who helps out. She's my co-host on uh, the Tuesday night show. Um, she's been a big instrumental part of this. Here's a reason why you guys need to support Build-A-Bear. Okay, I know this seems like a sudden random tangent, but I need to give Build-A-Bear some huge praise. Yeah, Regina watched the Jerry Lewis telethon too, right? And I don't, but I was the weird kid that like didn't even care that much about like if there was performing artists or whatever. Uh, I just wanted to watch those numbers roll that timpani. Um, Build-A-Bear. Not only does Build-A-Bear also support the exact same charity that we're supporting, they have a bear named Reed, but it's spelled Read, that people can order. And when you order it, a bear and a book are donated to a kid in need. But here's even the best part. Linda K. Hardy, I don't know why I use her full first name and last name every time. It's not like I talk to her and go, hi, Linda K. Hardy. Um, Linda works part time for Build-A-Bear. They are giving her complete paid off to work the charity function tomorrow. Because it's for charity, they're paying for her volunteer work. Um, they reward their employees who go out and do charitable works in the community. Who does that anymore? Who Nowadays, when companies would rather lay off than pay employees for anything, here's an employer who, A, not only is championing the same charity that I'm championing, but two is paying Linda to not be at work stuffing bears and recording memos and pumping stuffing. They're paying her to be with me all day and selling stuff to raise money for a charity. Folks, give Build-A-Bear some love. Even if it's, that's really something else for a company to say, hey, what you're doing outside of work is important. Um, here's money for going out and doing something charitable in your community. I think that's huge. Um, I've only worked for one company in my lifetime that did that, and it wasn't Waldenbooks. Um, yeah, it was not. I think it was actually. I think it was Apple. I think Apple was the only company I've ever worked for that, if you spent some volunteer time, you got paid as long as you could prove it. Is basically what it was. So yeah, folks, if you're in your local, if you're in your local mall, because we have so many of those anymore. But if you have a Build-A-Bear in your area, please by all means stop in there and thank the folks for being good human beings. Um, I'm so grateful that Linda's gonna be able to be there to help me out tomorrow. Because I tend to be a one-man show, and I'm really shitty at asking for help. So uh, when Linda said, "Look, I can be there and help you all day long," she's been running social media for me on this because that's the other part that has sucked with me being ill this week. I haven't been able to um, really get the word out on the show the way I really wanted to. So I asked Linda to take the lead on that, and sorry, God, it's something Sandy would have done if Sandy were still here with us. Um, and that's uh yeah, there's still, yeah, sorry, didn't mean to have an emotional moment there, but um I still miss Sandy a lot, and this is the kind of thing that Sandy would have really wanted to be a part of. So Linda and I are doing a lot of this in her honor, and knowing that she's watching down and glad that we're doing something good in the name of Misty Media. So um God, I've been doing all the talking. You guys have said nothing. Um, Tell me what's going on in your world. This isn't a one-way hangout. This is for everybody. What's happening in your world? What happened to you this week? What's the good? What's the bad? What's the skinny? What cool thing happened to you this week? What shitty thing happened to you this week? Um, tell me what's going on. Uh, who needs help? Who needs who needs a shoulder? Maria says, Jay, please don't be afraid to ask for help. Uh, I know, Maria, it's like down, deep down inside, and I think it's one of those things that I'm used to having to do everything myself. So I know, why is that? Why I'm doing like eye contact, like I'm looking at her name in the chat, like she's actually sitting there, like, oh, you're over there in that chair. Um, People will never believe that I used to be a reporter. The way I'm just so used to having to be self-reliant, and having to be in control of everything for everybody else, that I'm just not used to asking for help. Plus, I see people go through a lot worse than what I go through. Um, and it almost makes you feel like you don't have a right to ask for help in a way because of what everybody else is having to deal with. That's far bigger, and far more reaching consequences uh, than what you're dealing with. So my authors are amazing, though. They're the first ones to step up and say, how can we help? What can we do? Um, I love my authors to pieces. They're amazing, and it's like when I was coming up with the charity, people were like, "Oh yeah, where do you need us? When do you need us?" Adam Gorgoni is supposed to be flying out to New York tomorrow, and yet he's going to be there. He's like found time to come in and talk and read some stuff from his book. Sonia says relaunching Pyrobird Creative. Hopefully, more chances for us to partner up. Hell yes, Sonia. And see, launching a new gig. That's what the night shift is all about. That we're going to be here building businesses and networking and uh, doing all that kind of stuff for people. And I've actually started scheduling guests. We've got actual true live people coming in to talk to you guys all about how uh, they've created their businesses and what they went through and their trials and tribulations and what they've learned. I've got some uh, really well-known folks from the reseller community who are chomping at the bit to come in and talk. I've got authors, I've got people in other lines of work, um, and I've got other YouTubers that I've reached out to. It's amazing um, how many of the YouTubers are such awesome people that are willing to take a little bit of time to come in and talk. I'm hoping to land Mike Andes. He's kind of my hero right now, and I would love nothing more than to be able to get him. Some of the shows coming up for the night shift will be pre-recorded. We won't be live for all of them because it's just the natural ebb and flow of the availability of my guests. Is going to be a little tricky for them. So, and I've got some international people where the timing doesn't quite work right. So, the best way you'll be able to know is we will set them up as premieres rather than lives, and this way you folks will know what's pre-recorded and what isn't. But yeah, I'm lining up a whole bunch of guests so that we can. I took some time off from the Monday and Wednesday shows because it wasn't coming together the way I wanted, and if I couldn't do something of quality, I didn't want to throw crap out there, because if I started doing crappy shows and that was the reputation the night shift got, then I wasn't going to be able to build an audience off of that. People would watch the first, start watching the first few episodes and just be like, nah, it's not, that's not the quality. And I don't want it to be a talking head show where all I do is just sit here and talk to the camera for an hour. I want more interaction. I do better when I have a co-host. Um, I really do. Linda and I really play off each other well. Um, with my OW ADHD, I'm very critical of myself, and so being up here alone in the diner is just it's a lot of pressure. Um, so I like the idea of having a co-host. I just naturally do better bouncing off of somebody else. So uh, probably gonna have a cycle of guest hosts coming in also on the Friday night hang. Um, just somebody to shoot the crud with. Now see, there I was talking about how I could use any language I wanted to, and I come up with crud. I got every opportunity in the world to just say shit, and I don't. Why? Relax. Go with the flow. But as that little banner says, what would you like to see? How can we help? Email the night shift at mistymedia.com. Because I do want to be a show for the community. The goal of the show is entrepreneurship and running your business and getting help with your business, and not in any specific field because so much stuff crosses over. Um, I have more than 40 years of retail and retail management experience that I've been through. All of the guests I have lined up have decades and decades of experiences in their field. And so there's so much that we can all learn and network from each other. And I want to be a networking opportunity as well. I have the night shift was always in my head as an offshoot of Misty Media, of something I've really wanted to do for a very, very long time, because I I've always wanted to have my own business, and I never felt like I had enough uh, support around me to be, the people in my life aren't really interested in what I do. Um, it's like, oh, that's the thing that Jay does, but they're not excited or passionate about it. I mean, my husband doesn't even read, so uh, it's he understands it's important to me, and I guess that's the best I can ask for. Um, and Zeke just looks at it as an excuse to lay on my feet and be close to me, which is even better for both of us. So I know that's the same for a lot of people. There's a lot of folks that you know, they put their head down and they're working, and 10 hours later they look up and they're like, where did all that time go? And meanwhile, you know, the rest of their family is like, I don't get it. I don't know why that drive. I don't know why you like that, what you're doing so much. And that was the idea behind the night shift, was a place for those kind of folks to gather, to be able to say, hey, people don't necessarily get it. They don't necessarily understand why I do what I do or what drives me. And hey, you know what? I've got ideas and I've got questions, and I don't have anybody to bounce that off of. Um, so it's kind of like, you know, a group that would meet in real life in a diner or in a bookstore or a coffee shop, you know, that weekly get together that, uh, and so it's like Monday and Wednesday we'll put the work in, right? Well, Monday and Wednesday shows are about uh, learning from each other, networking, doing the business stuff. And then Friday nights will always be the Friday night hang. We get together, everybody just kind of talks about what happened in that week, you know, get stuff off their shoulders, um, talks about what's going on in their lives, celebrates their wins, mourns their losses, um, but a comfortable place for everybody just kind of come and be themselves. I think we have there is really something different about doing a show in the daytime versus doing a show at night. Um, it's the same thing. You look at, you know, talk shows. You know, a daytime talk show, or like the Today Show, is not the same thing as the Tonight Show. There's a totally different vibe. There's this sense of propriety that happens during the daytime, and I'm not one of those. I'm not a terribly proper person, and I like it when people can be relaxed and be themselves, and be able to cut loose, and say what they really think and what they really feel. Um, and I haven't found that on YouTube. Um, I haven't found it in a lot of places where there's any show that, I mean, there's people that get together and kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in their life, but um, it's not usually in an effort to help other people. It's usually just as a way to kind of get together, but, you know, hey, here's what's going on in my life, and but not a collaborative thing. And that's kind of what I've been shooting for. So the book fair tomorrow is kind of a like the first test of the night shift, basically. You know, I've asked all these people to come, you know, I've networked with all of these people and asked them to all come together in the name of charity, um, and do some good works. And you know, it's not about me. It's not about my publishing house. It's not necessarily about my titles. I mean, I didn't take a slot in the show. Actually, that's not true. I think I do have a slot at the towards the very end. Um, but it's about being able to shine the light on other people that are out there doing great stuff and help get other people's names out. You know, in 5 hours and 15 people, that's a lot of exposure of folks that might not get that kind of visibility otherwise. And I think that's really awesome to be able to discover new resellers you had never heard of, you might never have never heard of before, or even know, or if you're like me, you're tuning in because it's me and you know me, but then you're like, what is this online reselling thing? Which is what I went through at the end of last year. I was like, had never, I mean, I've been online my entire life and had never heard of online auctions or online reselling. At least not through YouTube. I mean, obviously I've been through eBay and all that stuff, but I had no clue whatsoever that any of this existed uh, up until the end of last year, and it's like drinking from a fire hose. Um, you know, now I've got the opportunity to kind of introduce other people to it, and introduce other people to this world that I find myself in now, that I would honestly never have thought of as a publisher being a part of it. Um, so that's the cool thing about what we're, you know, I look at it more of I look at tomorrow's book fair more as something that is kind of the night shift doing it, than Misty Media doing it, just because it fits more of the goals and the ideas that I had when I created the night shift. Um, it is about there and about networking and getting other businesses known, and at the same time doing really really good work. Um, so very very thankful to everybody that is offering their time to come in and give a hand tomorrow. Um, in terms of programming, like I said, we do we me and my other personalities. Boy, you guys should meet Grog. Someday you guys will meet Grog. There is another personality inside me. His name is Grog. Grog doesn't come out too often, but uh, Grog is my caveman, very simple emotion guy. Um, he runs pretty much just on emotion, um, usually aggression. Um, but you guys at some point will meet Grog. He's a good guy. Now everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, did you hear Jay has split personalities?" No, he's made up, folks. It's an alter ego kind of thing. It's not really clinical. I'm not in therapy. No, it's I'm no. Um, I got a lot of other things going on up there, but split personality ain't one of them. Um, so yeah, the goal here is to get back on track with what I want to do with the night shift. Um, so today, obviously, we've got the Friday night hang. Tomorrow is the book fair. Because we missed Linda and I missed our show this past Tuesday. Um, let's see. Regina says, my others have lots of staff meetings all the time. I always say, Regina, that sometimes the only intelligent conversation you get is with yourself in the course of a day. Like, Michael, there's Angry Otter. I was starting to think that you were just ignoring me. And there he is. Good to see you, man. But do you ever get that feeling, right? Like you're making decisions all day and you're having those conversations in your head and like, why do I have to deal with all these stupid people? Like, why don't any of these other human beings understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do? Um, and you're just like, I am done humaning for the day. One of my favorite lines is from I think it's the original Ace Ventura movie where he's like, "Nope, don't do humans." Um, yeah, funny that I'm in a business that requires that requires me to uh, be around people, and yet I'm just like, people bad. Uh, Michael says we have a pool party going on at the house. What on earth? You could be out there with half naked guys, and you're in here with us in the diner. Um, I appreciate that. That's awesome. I hope we'll see you tomorrow, Michael, around the book fair. I know we'll certainly be looking for you. And bring any hot guys with you that are uh, hanging out by the pool. We could use some eye candy. Somebody says my conversations with myself are rarely intelligent. I find that hard to believe. Knowing what I know about you, Sonia, right, Regina? I mean, we only get ginger hotness tomorrow for like 15 minutes, and that's just not going to be enough over the course of 5 hours. I I need more hotness than that in for than 15 minutes. My goodness, I ain't dead yet. The EKG proved it. I'm still very much alive. Um, so I realize that our other two shows or our other 2 days a week aren't going to appeal to everybody. Um, but I do hope that even if you're not interested in that content, that everybody will keep coming back on Friday nights for the Friday night hang. Um, it's become really important to me. I'm really loving, even though folks don't necessarily say much in the chat. Um, I feel like, was it Gloria Swanson and Sunset Boulevard? All of you out there in the dark. Um, Knowing that you guys are all out there, watching uh, my little counter up there, knowing that, hey, there are people out there watching and listening, is really awesome. It's really cool. Uh, you tend to, there's a tendency to just think that nobody would be interested in what you had to say, um, and then people prove you wrong. Uh, but I really really enjoy. Yeah, Michael, if you get a chance, go back when once this turns into a replay. I did tell everybody at the beginning kind of a short version of, well, I hope it was short. It probably felt like an eternity. Um, it's like they say in Clue, to make a long story short, too late. But do go back to the beginning of this video, and you'll be able to hear kind of a little bit more about my adventures earlier this week. Um, I won't rehash now because everybody's already had to live through it once, and uh, you know they're already, it's like an airplane where like every time the guy tells the story about being in the war and the person next to him offs themselves um, while he's through story. Can I say that? Can I say offs themselves? Is that allowed on YouTube? Oh wait, that's right. We're not monetized. I can say anything I want to. Um, Sonia says, "Give us time. We'll get that counter flying." I hope so. I hope we. I. I. I hope we get enough people that are at least interested in hanging out. Even if the part that I have to get past is the fact that not everybody participates. Um, when I started the first couple shows, I would see the counter and I would be like, "Oh my gosh, nobody's saying anything," and am I drowning out here? Um, and I guess as long as the counter doesn't suddenly go to zero, I guess you're doing fine. But um, I'm used to working in other mediums where uh, the feedback is more instantaneous. You kind of know where you stand, and so it's a little tougher working in this medium where a lot of folks kind of put it on for put on a podcast or something for background, which is so funny that I would be somebody that sits there and has that problem when I frickin' every single day listen to people running their auctions all day without being in their room watching any of it, like running it this past week. See, everybody thought I was completely checked out this week because I wasn't in the morning show with Johnny and Mark. I hadn't appeared in there, but actually I was stopping in at a lot of auctions all week and just having it as background while I worked on other stuff because I just really needed uh, I didn't want to listen to music and I wanted to listen to people and people talking about other stuff. And it was just a really cool way to be still in my community while not having to be active and on screen or, whatever. Um, but somehow I'm bad at taking my own advice for the thing that I literally do every single day. I'm bad at accepting the fact that there's going to be people that are actually in the room watching the show that aren't saying anything. It's like I I gotta figure out how to wrap my head around that. I don't know. I mean, for those of you that resell, I don't know how you do it when you've committed to like an hour long show or something and you're going through and you've got these low viewer counts or nobody's buying anything and how do you just keep smiling and keep going like it like nothing has happened, like I how do you just not like end your show and be in complete tears? I I I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know. I don't know how you folks do it. And that's genuine. I mean, I'm not joking there. I really don't know how you do it with having a show where nobody buys anything and it's a low viewership or people aren't participating. It's like, do you feel frustrated that you just spent an hour of your time or whatever and was it worth it? Like you didn't make a dime and you put all that prep into it and you didn't get a lot of interaction. Like what did you get out of that hour? Um, so that you don't go away feeling like you didn't accomplish anything. Regina says sometimes it's just having the connection without having to participate. Yeah. Um, for me, a lot of it also is the voice. Um, there's certain resellers that Regina, you're a great example of that. There's certain resellers who uh, I find their voice and their cadence and the way they communicate very soothing. Um, the kind like I really couldn't stand audiobooks. Um, I tried getting into audiobooks, but unless they had a lot of like the Doctor Who audios are great because they have lots of other stuff going on. It's just not one person talking and reading. But I could never get into audiobooks where they were just like a single person reading the book. I was like, oh my God, just shut up already. Um, and yet I really enjoy listening to resellers run their shows um, in the background. There's something very soothing about it. Uh, Regina says, can't win them all, and some days it's a home run, and others it's a total flop. Just keep swinging. Yeah, I don't know how you learn to get past that. Um, I mean, I guess everybody kind of goes through that in the beginning. Michael says on the reverse, I drop unannounced in random people's chats to just hit the like button. Um, which uh, reminds me, that's right, I'm supposed to ask people to do that. Please hit the thumbs up. Uh, feel free to leave comments. As I'm building the channel and trying to build a viewership, that's really important to me. I'm not concerned about monetization. I know that's important to a lot of folks. That's not what I'm about. Um, I'm about viewership. I'm about engagement. I'm about growing a community and pulling people together. Um, uh, I want to be like Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall goes out there and does his thing about the weather. Um, he's one of the best, to me, one of the best YouTubers on the planet. Um, but he's warm and he's engaging and he's not chasing the dollar. And he's makes a point of that. Like he's very grateful for what he gets, but he's never been about chasing the dollar. He's always been about helping and providing service and building a community, and that's really all I care about too. I run the publishing house to do the money part of it. um, i I don't care about that for the YouTube part of things. If it's something that happens in the future, great, but nothing I'm doing is deliberate to trying to get monetization. Um, I'm not, I don't make specific thumbnails or because the algorithm says to do this, that, or the other. I'm hoping that the content will speak for itself and people will enjoy it and engage with it and on any of our content across the channel. It doesn't have to be the night shift. It can be on anything that we come up with. I just want people to enjoy it and find that any of our shows make an impact and bring a community together. Um, and you know what? The channel will grow as a result of that. We're up to 300. Well, I saw we lost a few members in the last week, but I think we're around. Last time I checked, I think we're around 316 people. Um, for a channel that only got started, basically like in January, I'm good with that. It's a great start. Uh, I hope we hit 500. I'd love to hit 500 by the end of the year. There's still time, that just comes down to what we do and how I talk to folks and how I engage and hopefully keep the show interesting for everybody. Um, but the Friday night hang will always be the Friday night hang, regardless of anything else that happens with the rest of the night shift stuff. Um, the Friday night hang is the decompression, the decompression for myself and for everybody else, where I can just sit down and blab and just enjoy not having any, at least an hour of my time in a day that isn't going for, you know, in the pursuit of business or whatever else. Regina says, I don't care to get monetized. I enjoy the live sale and engagement. It really comes through, Regina, when you watch your shows. You can tell you're always having fun. It doesn't matter if it's on your show or you're on somebody else's show, especially when you're on the hump day. Um, it's clear you guys have a blast on the hump day. Like that just seems like a whole lot of fun. And you guys have been doing it together for. I know you're fairly new to being like an every week person on the hump day, but you can tell there's a real camaraderie between you guys when you watch that show, which is really cool. I love to see that, and and I, a lot of my crowd, I wouldn't even have been able to kick this off without all those folks from the reseller community coming by and giving their support. And so I'm very grateful to everybody for that. Also, very grateful to everybody that reached out this week that was concerned about me. I really appreciate that. I'm not used to it, so uh, I appreciate it. I just didn't. It was just kind of awkward. I didn't know what to. I didn't really know how to respond. I'm not used to. I'm not used to people engaging that way. So, folks, it looks like we hit the hour. I got to go create a jot form for tomorrow that has the Misty Media books in it that we're going to be offering for $10 a piece and free shipping. Um, I want to say one important thing about the book fair tomorrow. Misty Media is not taking a dime from anything that's happening in the book fair tomorrow. Not a dime. We are simply coordinating all of this for charity. Even the books that sell from our own stuff. They're priced in a way to ensure that I can pay the printing costs and the shipping of the books. All my authors are still getting their royalties, so it's just really really important. We're not selling the books and uh, sending everything off to charity. I'm leaving it up to my authors to decide once they receive their royalty checks whether or not they want to make a donation to First Book. But I have an obligation to my authors, and I've always told them that money only flows one way, and it's the way publishing should always work. Money should always flow from the publisher to the author, and never in the other direction. Um, and I would never withhold money from my authors or um, automatically give their stuff away for free without their involvement. It's not fair. It's what they wrote. It's their business. I wouldn't want them to suddenly, find ways to give away my business for free. So, so just know that for any of the, if you could spread the word, we're not taking a dime, and other than to cover printing and shipping costs on our own books. And I mean, it's an unpaid day off for me from my day job. I don't care. I'm supposed to work Saturdays, but uh, you know what? This was more important to me to go and do, and I know a lot of folks uh, are giving up their time tomorrow uh, to that they might otherwise be doing something to be making money for themselves or what have you, and they're generously giving to the charity. So uh, I please spread the word. The event is here on our channel. It will also be simulcast on Facebook, all 5 hours of it. Uh, so people will be able to drop in either way, but please do share everywhere that you possibly can. We do have a $5,000 goal. Um, by no means have any resellers been able to make their donations yet, because I mean stuff hasn't sold or people haven't been able to collect their funds yet from selling and that sort of thing. So uh, if you go to the page, our donation page, you'll see there's like $46 in there, and that's absolutely expected because all this stuff really hasn't happened yet, and don't have a whole lot of cash donations. Which reminds me, if people don't want to buy books or book adjacent stuff, they can still give a financial support through our donation page, which that link is in the show notes for the book fair tomorrow. So if you just when you click out of here, if you go over to the book fair under live for tomorrow, you'll be able to see that over there. Feel free to make a donation, and we will be very, very grateful in trying to reach our $5,000 goal. It's a lofty goal, and if we don't make it, I'm okay with that. I'm just glad that First Book will get something. Because of the nature of this type of fundraiser, I won't be able to give anybody totals on uh, how much we raised until further down the road a bit, once the resellers have all invoiced their customers and received monies and shipped out, and then been able to make their donations into the donation page. Um, and that's understandably going to take a few weeks for everybody to be able to get caught up and all that information. So hang in there if you're waiting to see what our totals are. But if you're like me and you're obsessed with watching that counter, I'm hoping there will be a lot of cash donations coming in during the day as well. So keep reloading our donor page on First Book. We're currently ranked number 15, I think, out of uh, individual fundraisers on First Book. I would love to see us in the number one spot. Um, so let's make that happen. But for now, because good grief, it is getting late and I got stuff to do before having to be up at 3:45 a.m. to get everything kicked off. Um, thank you all for being here. Thank you all. Can you tell I grew up in Florida? Um, I get tired of that start accent starts coming out. Thank you all. Let's go get some cornbread, jump in a truck, go fishing. Um, I'm tired. Thank you all for being here. For those of you that were new tonight, or Sonia, my God, I haven't seen you in ages. I love you so much. But honestly, all of you guys, thank you so much for your support. I genuinely love each and every one of you. You folks are terrific human beings. Very, very much appreciate everybody being here on the Friday night hang. Hope to see you tomorrow on the book fair. If not there, hopefully we'll see you Tuesday night when Linda and I come back to talk about the short story and whether or not the short story is truly dead as a format or if there's still life in that beast yet. We'll have the night shift on Monday. Monday, I believe we're talking about why free doesn't work. Why free uh, is not a business. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. That why free is not a business plan. Um, so we'll be talking about that. I do not remember offhand the topic for the Wednesday show, but Monday I know is about why free is not a why free is not a should not be a standard part of your business. And then next Friday we'll be back with the hang. So you all have yourselves a really great weekend. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight, and hopefully see you at the book fair tomorrow. Please do spread the word so we can raise some good money for these kids. And you guys find a good book, have a good read, come back and hang. Take care.